Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided to the Co-Star, the official newspaper of the Borough of Belmar, and the Asbury Park Press on December 22nd, 2021, and notice of this meeting was posted on the bulletin board of the municipal building.
Thank you, Ray. Will everybody join me in saluting the flag of our great nation? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Everybody, if you just remain standing, a moment of silence for our troops, their families, and all our first responders. Thank you.
Just have to take roll call. Councilman Brennan?
Here.
Councilman McKinney?
Here.
Mayor Walsenburg?
Here.
Councilman McCracken?
Here.
And Councilman Carvelli is absent.
Okay, couple things on workshop. The first thing is we have is I've asked our CFO Lorraine to come tonight, and as we're starting to look at the budget, started to put it together. We've been looking at the beach utility, and it looks like there's going to have to be some type of a change as far as the monetary amount that is coming in. And it's basically is that with the salaries going up down there and we're trying to move towards the $15 an hour minimum wage that we have to do, the average salaries that have been going up almost $300,000 a year. So, and with the summer that we had last year, and we could only budget based on the summer of last year, it looks like that we're going to have to do some increasing down there. But I want our CFO Lorraine to discuss some of the numbers and some of the things that she has found down at the beach utility. So, Lorraine, if you can.
Thank you, Mayor.
And thank you for being here today.
You're welcome. Essentially what we found is that over the last several years, we've had, last year was a terrible season weather-wise. So our revenue was severely affected by that. The year before was COVID, and everybody came to the beach because that was the only recreational vehicle open to people. So what I did was I took an average of the last 3 years of beach badge sales. And in comparison, looked at the budgets and the estimated budget for 2022 to come up with a figure of what we're going to need to raise in order to cover our expenses. And the bottom line is that we have to budget as if we were going to have 101 days of perfect weather, and as an eventuality, because we have to be prepared in case we do have that kind of season, versus the kind of season that we had last year where almost every weekend, at least one of the 2 days was a rain day. We've also had a decrease in the amount of surplus that we have replaced in the budget. Again, because of the severe weather that we had last year, it affected our revenue, which affected the amount of fund balance that we raised or we replaced. That was offset the prior year by COVID money coming in, CARES Act money actually, that we didn't have last year as a source of revenue or as an ability to offset the increase in expenses. And the other factor, as you mentioned, is that over the last 3 years, we've seen a 34% increase in minimum wage. And there are further upward pressures on wages because in order to maintain and keep our staff, we are going above and beyond the minimum wage requirements in order to keep our staff. So with all of these factors taken into consideration, you have received an information sheet that gives you some scenarios, raising a beach badge fee, raising parking fee, what would happen if we didn't raise fees. So the bottom line is it's entirely in the council's court to see how you want to approach this upcoming season. But it is something that we would need to, some action that needs to be taken before the end of the month, at least an initial action.
Okay.
Thank you. I know everybody has the figure sheet in front of them with a couple different scenarios. One of them is raising the daily badges from 9 to 10 and raising the parking to 2, and the other scenario is leaving everything the same and raising the daily badge to 11. I know that still, looking at the numbers, brings us a little bit short. And for the past 3 years, I've been working with the state legislators to try to get a half-price badge between 12 and 16, but we have no movement on that. I know we've talked about in the past lowering the age to 14, but you know, we hear from our lifeguards every year, we hear from the beach director, we hear from all the beach attendants down there that we have to lower the age to 14 because our 8th Avenue beach or 16th or 17th, 19th Avenue beaches are inundated with all the kids coming in because they know our beach is free. So those are the different things that we got to take a look at. We have nothing on the agenda tonight. I just wanted to get some dialogue out there between the council to see which direction we really want to go in. It's something that I think we could not just sit back and do nothing, because we don't want to get into a situation where our taxpayers are starting to supplement the beach. So before the next meeting, maybe if you need to go over some of these numbers and really discuss the facts and figures with Lorraine a little bit deeper and see where we need to go, and then we'll come back at the next meeting to really take a look at the feeling of what everybody wants to do. So, I mean, we have Lorraine here tonight. If anybody has any questions, like I said, we're not doing anything tonight on it, but it's something we have to really take a look at and take it deep. You know, it's never easy to raise anything, but
No, we're just going to be short if we don't.
yeah, we're going to be short, so. Does anybody have any questions for our CFO
Thank you.
before we move on? But yes, thank you, Lorraine, for coming, and yes, go ahead.
So, Lorraine, you pointed that the minimum wage has gone up 34% over the past several years. It's obviously out of our control. That's state law that's been enacted. But with the workforce challenges that we're facing as a borough with beach staff and having to compete for staff by raising wages above the minimum wage since 2019 to our estimated 2022 budget, or actually with the actual from 2019 to 2021, what percentage have our wages as a borough had to go up to compete in the marketplace for staff? I know the minimum wage is up 34%, but how much more are we paying, are we having to pay above the minimum wage to, you know, to have a job be attractive to people?
That's really a fluctuating number, and frankly, I didn't calculate that number.
Okay.
But I did calculate the dollar cost and the additional dollars between 2021 salary and wages and 2022 salary and wages, which is proposed, is about $200,000.
Yeah, I see that.
We are seeing the requests that are coming in from our beach department heads, our lifeguard chief, and the supervisory staff down there, is that we need to increase our wages in order to compete with the other beaches in the area.
So from 2019, the salary and wages line was $2,714,000, and estimated for 2022 is $3,408,000. That's just, those are wage pressures, right? That's not increasing staff, that's not additional people. That's the same structure that we've had on the beach for a very long time. We're just looking at an additional $600,000 because of wage pressures.
Yes.
Anyone else have any question?
Question? The only question we would have, which nobody here can really answer, is how many 14 or 15-year-olds got on the beach for free in the past? And would that, if we were charging them to get on, would that give us enough to make up the shortfall? There's no way to know, unfortunately.
Unfortunately, that's not something I can calculate.
No. But I can tell you, as someone who worked at a gate for many years, it would sure make the job easier if 14 and 15-year-olds were part of the crowd that pays, because it's tough. I can speak for the gate attendants. It's really, really tough. And the mayor's right. I mean, a lot of these kids come here because they think they can get on for free, and they think they can lie about their age and get on for free. And you know, I think it might make it a lot easier for the gate attendants to do their job if we had that kind of, if we had that, we'd take that kind of step. You know what I mean? It's definitely something to consider.
I believe you're correct.
Thank
And the bottom line is that there are only, the majority of beaches in this area charge for 12 and under, actually.
Mhm.
So if you're looking at a fluctuating age or an age that's a little bit higher than that,
Mhm.
you still should be able to, we should still be able to recoup some of the revenue. Again, I can't calculate because I don't have nothing to
Right.
base it on. But it is a factor.
Right. Thank you.
And the other cost, not salaries and wages, but in the other cost lines, I mean, that's gone up too. But just generally, what is in those line items for other costs?
It's all of the equipment necessary to operate the beach. It's all of the supplies that are necessary for the beach, the gate staff, the lifeguards, the life-saving first aid equipment, material. We've also taken on the operation of the first aid squad. So a portion of that is being assigned to the beach, since a good portion of the calls of the 3 months that the beach is open do come from the beach. So all of these things have combined to create a perfect storm, which requires us to address the issue.
If those costs have gone up significantly as well.
Yes. And the costs for all of the supplies to operate the beach have increased dramatically. And that's just a factor of the inflation that we're all facing.
I think it's also important to note that, you know, in each of these scenarios that you propose to us, the adult badge and the senior badge, you're not proposing any change. It's in the daily badges and the parking, which typically, I would guess, you know, are more daily visitors, out-of-town folks, which increase the cost of operating the municipality in general. So, you know, we're asking them to share in some of those increases.
Yes.
Okay, any other questions on
You're
that? All
welcome.
right, thank you, Lorraine.
You're welcome.
The only other thing I have for workshop is, I'm sending a letter to all the business owners, and we're gonna have a meeting about the change in the tourism. There's some misconceptions out there, because we're eliminating the SID tax structure because it was so unfair, and just wrapping it up into our tourism fees. So I know there was a lot of questions on it, and maybe we should have sent a letter prior to us making the change, but we're sending a letter out to everybody. We have a meeting with the business owners, explain to them in great detail about what we're doing, because most of them don't understand that actually it's going to be a decreased cost to them, not an increased cost to them, because when you remove the SID tax, and there was places like Marina Grill, because because they rent from us, never had to pay. So under this new structure, you know, they would have to pay their fair share. And you know, all our pilot, all the places on Main Street have a pilot, none of those businesses ever had to pay. So it'll be more of a fair structure, but we're going to have a meeting in the near future and sending them all a letter with the explanation of what's going to go on, and then we'll explain to them at that meeting. So we're going to do that. I know there was some questions about it. If anybody else has any questions about it?
I have a question, Mayor. Was that meeting also just going to be just for business owners in town?
Just business owners.
Just for business owners?
Yeah, all the ones that
All business
have to
owners.
pay into tourism or the SID, and explain to them what we are actually doing for them. And 90% of it's going to be lower costs. So we took a good hard look at how it was being structured and the overlapping costs that were happening. And I had a lot of discussions with the president of the BBP and told him exactly what we were doing. And it's we were lacking in the communication to them, but we're going to straighten that out. All right, and I think that's all I have for workshop. Anybody else have anything? Tina, you have anything? Or Chief, please, anything for workshop to tell us?
I don't know if anybody saw the article in the paper this past week in the CoStar. All of the officers in Belmar Police Department have been equipped with body-worn cameras, so you'll be seeing them on there, somewhere in their chest area, depending on how tall or short they are, is where it's being placed. The Attorney General, thank you, sorry. New Jersey's Attorney General put out a mandatory requirement for body-worn cameras for all uniformed and plainclothes police officers. So as of February 1st, all of the Belmar police officers have been equipped with them. They're getting used to them, and I think it's a very good thing for our officers, definitely with transparency and moving forward. So if you happen to see a little red light, that means it's recording. They do have to have them on with any interaction with the public. So, you know, just so you guys are aware, if you need any information on it, we did post it on the website and on our Facebook page.
And also, we're working on enhancing our community policing so that all the officers are involved more heavily in the community policing.
Yes. We sent out John Sabia was helpful in getting all of the officers on a email list instead of you just having the one officer, which was usually the sergeant of the shift, emailing you. Now all of the officers will be emailing you from their PD website, their PD emails, just putting out information for, you know, so the residents are aware of what's going on in town, and their information to where you can contact them if you have any concerns or complaints or any suggestions.
Yes.
Chief, I have a quick question.
Yes.
Will the special police that come on in the summer, the additional police, will they be also trained on the body cameras and all that too?
Yes, so
They're
the
the
way
ones
that
that
the
interact with
requirement
them.
is all sworn officers, so our Class 2 officers that work mainly at night will also be equipped with the body-worn cameras. We haven't trained them in them yet. We didn't want the first day of them wearing them to be St. Patrick's Day parade, so we're going to wait until after the parade, and they're going to be all brought in and trained on the cameras.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Not the special ones.
No, not
Okay.
at this time.
And I want to introduce our public works assistant or acting superintendent, Billy Musto. So if anybody doesn't know him, Billy is with us tonight. He is in the acting position until we make a superintendent, since we have John McGuire retired since January. So, and I hate to put you on the spot, but do we have anything from DPW?
No.
Okay. I didn't think so, but I figured you'd all that. But thanks for being here, and So he's our new superintendent in the acting role right now.
Yes.
All right. Anything else before we move on? All right. April, we have any petitions?
We do not have any petitions.
Approval of the minutes, February 1st.
Can I have a motion to approve the February 1st minutes?
Motion.
Councilman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilman McKinney?
Yes.
Mayor Walsberg?
Yes.
Councilman McCracken?
Yes.
All right. Reports of council. Council President McCracken.
Thank you, Mayor. The Belmar Housing Authority wanted to commend the Department of Public Works for the great job that you've done in working to clear the snow for our seniors over there. We do a great job as a borough working with the Housing Authority to make sure that our seniors are safe and warm and the building is well maintained. The board of the Housing Authority signed an agreement with an engineer to evaluate the brick exterior, which will eventually lead to getting that fixed and repointed. There's some areas that are unstable, and certainly we don't want anybody to get hurt from a falling brick. And the Belmar Housing Authority is also looking for an outside contractor this year to maintain the grounds. So we expect that the building will look a little more tidy, I guess, for lack of a better word, moving forward with a professional company coming in and maintaining those grounds. So good things happening over at the Housing Authority, and the Shade Tree Commission moved their meeting, and now it is the fourth Tuesday of the month at 6 o'clock, so we have a meeting next week.
Okay, thank you. Councilman Brown.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. There was a not official Harbor Commission meeting last week. We did not have a quorum, but the mayor and the business administrator and the borough engineer were there, so we were able to have a discussion. We're really looking at establishing a capital budget to do maintenance. In particular, some of the docks really need the electric replaced. One of them doesn't even have any. We're trying to figure out how to spread the money around so we can get the work done as quickly as possible without breaking the bank to do it. We don't want to, it really has to be paid with revenue generated by the marina, but that revenue goes into the general fund, so we don't want to take all of it out and do everything at once, because that would short our general fund. We really do depend on that money there to keep property taxes stable. So we're just going to keep looking until we can figure out there's some more things that have to be looked at on the site as far as what needs to be done and what's really going to be the most effective. Can we do one dock? Can we do 2 docks in a season? Can we do 3? Can we afford that? Those kind of details are going to be worked out, and we're looking to start doing that work this season. We have to get it done. The marina is going to open in April. We're still planning the boat show the week right before the opening, but all those details will be forthcoming. Also, the Environmental Commission had a meeting. I was only able to attend for the first half hour, but they're working. We're still working on the podcast. It's a tour, walking tour of the town. Some of you might remember my wife created it about 10 years ago. And Sandy happened, and half the stuff on the tour wasn't there anymore. So, although it's still up, I mean, you can still go to find the podcast and listen to it, and the phone numbers on the signs still work. All that's going to be redone. It's going to be expanded. Most of the audio has been recorded. We've shipped it over to a web hosting company that'll make it a little easier to do any changes that need to be done in the future. They're giving us the nonprofit rate, which really is a great deal. Like, I looked at all the prices and all these other services. We're getting a great deal. And it's moving right along. The next thing we need to do is order, some of you might remember this, there used to be large display signs in McCleary Park and at Silver Lake. There was one on each side of the lake. There were 3 over in McCleary Park. They were all destroyed in the storm. We're looking to get those replaced, and once those go in, then we'll really be moving forward. It's really moving along right on schedule. I'm very happy with that. A couple other things the Environmental Commission is looking at, they're looking at gas-powered leaf blowers. They're looking at what some other towns around here are doing, and they're also gonna start looking at other towns, what they're doing with recycling different materials that we're not recycling right now ourselves. So they're gonna get into that information, and I'll have more about that in the future. That's my report. Thank you, Mr.
Okay, thank you. Councilwoman Kenny.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. None of my committees reported the past couple weeks, so I have nothing to report on in terms of committee meetings. However, with regards to improving communication with the town, Belmar is going to be sending out a monthly newsletter. Now that we are going to be, it is going to go out on the Nixle system again as a non-emergent information to the town. You'll get a text message alert saying click on this link and you'll be able to access the monthly newsletter. You can also check it on our website, or you'll receive it via email. If you've already set up for Nixle, you should be getting all these alerts. Again, if you don't know how to do that, get the town alerts. You can go to the town's web page. It's right at the top. Receive, alerts to the town, and there's a way to register so that you can get your alerts. But yes, the monthly newsletter. We're hoping to have that starting in March. There isn't an exact date yet, but that will be something that will be coming out very soon. So look out for that. And that's all I have.
Okay,
Thank you.
The only other thing I have, other than all the workshop items that we've been discussing, we got a letter from the state of New Jersey. We were trying to get a pedestrian bicycle grant to make some type of a walkway or boardwalk from McCleary Park down to Belmar Boulevard, and they said that it wouldn't be we got a letter from the state denying us because they said it wouldn't be feasible because it's for the environment, and they named a few different reasons why they don't think it would be really good because it would disrupt the environment down at that area. But we're going to continue to work to get that. I think that it would be really helpful for our town if people could walk from Belmar Boulevard into McCleary Park and into our marina, and take some of the vehicles that people have to drive there and make it safe for people to do that. But we're going to continue to work towards that. But other than that and all the workshop items we talked about, that's basically all I have for my report. All right, we're going to go on to public session, not any resolution items. Anybody have anything that they want to discuss about our resolution items tonight? All right, April?
Can I have a motion to close the public session?
Motion?
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
Can I have a motion to approve the resolutions as listed on the consent agenda?
So moved.
Second?
Councilman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilman McKinney?
Yes.
Mayor Walsfer?
Yes.
Councilman McCracken?
Yes.
For ordinances, we have second reading and public hearing on ordinance 2022-3. This is an ordinance amending, or for the acquisition of improvements of real property located at block 125, lot 7 and 8 for 1200 Main Street. This is open for public hearing. If anyone would like to comment on this ordinance, please step forward. Provide your name and street address.
Mark Levis, 904 13th Avenue. I just want to ask the council if you guys would have considered this ordinance if it had not been for the presentation you had previously seen on the proposed Mediterranean project.
I'm sorry.
1200 Main
So
Street.
this is.
Wait,
Oh, I
sir, I'm
apologize.
sorry.
Wrong
Yeah,
one,
this is not
sorry.
that
wrong one. Yeah, this is dealing with the acquisition of the property to be used for the first aid building.
I'll go to the next one.
That ordinance has actually been tabled until the March 1st, 2022, because they're still waiting on the planning board's review letter.
Hey, how are you there? Joe McAvoy, 700 Main Street, right across from the corner. I just have a question. It's on the Department, New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection contaminated website. It's listed. And I'm just wondering if we're gonna clean it up before they sell it to the borough. Or are we gonna get stuck with that tab?
I'm glad you brought that up because in the contract, it is that we're going to be signing, whatever needs to be done down there is solely on the buyer. And if it gets to be a point, I mean, on the seller. Oops, no, on the seller. It's going to be, all the costs are to the seller, and if it comes a point in time that we don't think that it can be environmentally clean, and we walk away, they have to owe us whatever money's put out.
So that's previous to before the deal goes down.
That's all previous before it goes down.
Thank you.
Yeah, we're fully aware of that.
Yes, sir.
Anyone else?
Can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion.
Second?
All in favor?
Aye.
And can I have a motion to adopt ordinance 2022-3?
I'll make the motion.
Second. Councilman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman McKinney? Mayor Walsifer?
Yes.
Councilman McCracken?
Yes.
Next is second reading and public hearing on ordinance 2022-4. This is an ordinance to exceed the municipal budget appropriation limits and to establish a cap bank. It's open for public comment, if anyone would like to speak. Can I have a motion to close the public hearing? Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
And a motion to adopt ordinance 2022-4.
I'll move it.
Second. Councilman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman McKinney?
Yes.
Mayor Walsifer?
Yes.
Councilman McCracken?
Yes.
Next is second reading and public hearing on ordinance 2022-5. This is a bond ordinance amending bond ordinance 2021-11. This is open for public comment. If anyone would like to speak on this ordinance.
All right, seeing none.
Can I have a motion to close the public hearing?
Motion.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
And a motion to adopt ordinance 2022-5.
I'll make the motion.
Second. Okay. Councilman Brennan?
Yes.
Councilwoman McKinney?
Yes.
Mayor Walsifer?
Yes.
Councilman McCracken?
Yes.
And last one is first reading and introduction on ordinance 2022-6. This is an ordinance amending Chapter 3, Section 6.69, which is the tourism fee assessment. We have a motion to offer for first reading.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Okay, Councilman Brennan?
Yeah, I just want to say, I like this version of the ordinance much better than the first one. And really, we did drop the ball on communications and appreciate all the feedback we got. And I think this is a much better approach to what we're trying to do. And I think in the end, everyone's really going to like this. So I'm voting yes.
Councilwoman McKinney?
As a business owner in town, I think this is a really good idea. I think it's really good that we could keep with the communication with the residents, so please look out for the information about the meeting if you are a business owner, if you know someone who's a business owner, so we can clarify the fees. So, yes.
Mayor Walsifer?
Yes.
Councilman McCracken?
Concur with my colleagues, yes.
Okay, on the public session. Yes, John.
Hi, John Walsh, 1101B. The ordinances, I just have a quick suggestion, or maybe someone can humor me. Is there any way, when we read the ordinance title, there could be some sort of synopsis? Or in layman's terms, I don't know, like the one April just read, number 21, 2001-11, I'm not sure what that is. Is there any way to get some type of breakdown when April reads them out loud? I'm sure people that are on Facebook right now don't have these in front of them. A perfect example is the one with the tourism fees. I was probably here the night you guys voted on it, and I didn't know it happened. And the businesses don't know it happened until it hit the bill. So is there any way, I mean, it would have been easier if the public knew what it was, so maybe we could have been like, wait, this isn't something that we should be doing, and then this problem doesn't happen, I don't know.
Yeah, I had a discussion with the president of the business partners, explained to him what was going on. I'm my part, I presume that you put it out to everybody, but they didn't, so.
Yeah, so not even specifically this
It's-
one.
Yeah, so.
Like maybe the communication agenda or flyer that you're sending out, there could be a section on the council that really explains what we're voting on here.
I think it's a really good idea.
Yeah, just
You know,
because
I
I'm
think people
confused
don't
when you read
understand.
these, and I don't understand.
And that's
Yeah.
what we're gonna do. We're gonna deal with all the business owners before second reading. We're gonna have a meeting with them. We're gonna explain it in great detail to them.
Yeah.
So that if the business owners come here and they wanna discuss anything with it, but.
Or even the lot number, I don't know that either.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, the first, like, that could be explained to me as this is where we want to put the first aid.
Okay.
I got that now, I had to talk to a few people to get that information. It's just not clear when we're voting on it that that's what it is.
Okay.
So would it be something that if we put it up on the Facebook page or something on social media, just saying, this is what's going to happen, a synopsis of the ordinances,
Sure,
that
yeah.
suffice for the public to understand?
I think, and for me, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
I think
All
it's a good
right,
idea.
thanks, Sean.
Thank you.
Thanks, John.
Well, my only concern is, I mean, what we're basically talking about is an interpretive statement.
I understand that too.
Right, and
I mean, it would just have, I get that, and I understand that it could be,
Interpretive statements are.
But if
we
it's
just have
not
to make
like-
sure that what we were doing would be.
it's not interpretive that we're buying this property for the first aid, right? Like, that's what it's gonna be used for, so that's like an easy.
Right, we're looking at doing that. Right.
So then that's not really interpretive, that's what we would use it for, right? Does that make sense?
It's,
I don't know,
I
you're the lawyer.
hear what you're saying. I have significant concerns
Okay.
for the issue of just a misinterpretation of saying, well, this is what it said on the Facebook webpage, but then in the legal effect of things, it kind of has more of a different tweak. A lot of times why resolutions are crafted the way they are, for example, with the lot number, or ordinances, I should say, is because we need to be as specific and concise, as specific as possible, as required by the law
Yeah.
to adopt the ordinance. Now, I can see for purposes of somebody that's not an attorney, when they review a lot of the legal.
I don't know if anyone in here, I know
Yeah.
2 attorneys, but that's about it.
Yeah, the legal mumbo jargon of
Yeah,
what is a cat bank, for example.
I had no idea, that was my example I was gonna use, I don't know what that is.
It's something that is essentially just cushion room for the borough in the event that there's a disaster, in the event that they need to have access to additional funds, that they have that availability to increase, to basically reach their arm out
So-
to another piggy bank.
Okay,
Now, if we put that into layman terms on Facebook page again, you.
so could it be layman's terms that are read here in council meeting by April?
Yeah, so, but
Maybe.
even
Or
then.
Tom?
Maybe, yeah.
If it's legal.
If it's,
Well, all I
yeah,
can tell you is, I've had a problem where interpretive statements definitely came back and bit me. And I just want to make sure that the council, we avoid that. I don't want that kind of thing to happen again.
If it's an ordinance that's confusing council, please ask me and I can clarify it on the record for the public and those that are listening in.
That would be great.
But,
That would be great, because I totally agree with you, John. It's exactly, look,
because no one had comments on tonight, because I don't know what they are.
I don't know
So I
anybody
can't
who walks
comment on it,
around
I'm
with
sure
a
it
tax
is.
map memorized.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
You know,
Yeah, again, I just have concerns about putting something in writing
Sure.
that could have an opportunity for misinterpretation. So just, again, ask questions. You can always feel free to call me at my office if you have a question of what's this ordinance means, and I'd be happy to talk to you.
Absolutely, all right, thank you.
thanks.
Anyone else?
Mark Levis, 904 13th Ave. Not about any non-ordinances on the agenda. I just have a question about the tourism fees. And I'm wondering, was the Tourism Commission ever consulted about raising the tourism fees? Councilman Brennan, you sit as the council representative for the Tourism Commission.
Tourism Commission hasn't met for many, many months.
But according to our ordinance, the Tourism Commission is the one who's exclusively has the authority to disperse those funds that come from those tourism fees.
Right,
So-
disperse it, yeah.
Right, so if they're not meeting, how are they spending that money or deciding who that money's gonna go to?
Well, this whole issue came up because of the BBP, the Belmar Business Community, and tourism. We're looking at it for a while now and trying to come up with a plan because of the owners of the businesses that are on Main Street that are involved in the pilot program never had to pay in. People that rent all the buildings from us, like Marina Grill and Lane W. Pier, they never had to pay in. And that was a big concern for everybody. So if you were dealing with a tax assessment, those places would never have to pay. It was concern of tourism, it was concern of the BBP. So we decided that we took a look at it and said the best course of action is to eliminate the assessment and just deal with tourism. So most people are gonna have, because of the broader base that are now being charged, the people that were paying, it's gonna be less for them. The people that never paid before, yes, they're gonna have to pay their fair share for tourism, because it costs a lot of money to run, whether we're doing concerts on Piano Plaza or anything that we run in town, and it's to enhance the people that come to Main Street, Dine and Discover. All these things cost a lot of money to run. So this is what we're going to explain to the business community when we have that meeting before our next council meeting to adopt this ordinance. And we're going to explain it to them, we're going to explain what we're doing, and tell them where we came up with this. So we're going to have a good explanation with our business community. But that's, and then as far as dispersing the money, we'll go through our tourism board.
But in terms of what activity, is the BBP still going to be in existence? Will they still be getting funds
Yes.
from this tourism assessment?
Yeah.
Or not assessment, but from the tourism fee?
Yeah, they'll still be in existence.
Well, how will we be able to see where those funds go? I mean, if tourism hasn't met, and when was the last time tourism met?
All I can tell you is, I mean, to be fair, the tourism hasn't had any funding to vote on. We've been paying for events out of wherever we could. The BBP in particular has paid for those Friday night concerts.
There used to be a fee on businesses, right? It was $100 or something like that, not to exceed $100.
But the problem was like the Friday night concerts, we used to have to go out to other businesses and rely on them to donate or sponsor, because there was not enough money there.
Right.
And then even like, you know, the movies on the beach and a lot of the different things. This will eliminate all that, and we won't have to go out and beg for different businesses to sponsor some of these things that go on, like the fireworks and everything else. There will be enough money, and it's spread out between a lot of people to handle all these different type of events that we run in town. And they're basically, all these events that happen in town is to enhance our business community.
I understand that. I just want to make sure that the money is going to be controlled by Tourism Commission, and it's not just going to be an extra, extra money in the pocket of the
Well, one of the things I'd
borough
like to
that they can
see,
do whatever they want with it.
I'd like to see an estimate of how much tourism actually needs to put on all the events, to pay for the marketing that they do for the town, all the different things that are done, and to see, I'm hopeful that the fees we're going to charge are going to basically equal what we need to spend, so that, we don't want to have a surplus, we don't want to have a deficit. But again, I want to thank the businesses that ponied up to put the movies on the beach. I really appreciate what they did for the town. It was really great of them. But that's not a sustainable model, right? You have to be able to know what a steady income is going to be, so we can run these events. And really, honestly, it's kind of, at this point, I think it's time to clean it up and so everybody can see what we're collecting, what we're spending it on, and then if they have any concerns or questions, they'll know what they're asking.
Well, and they have a place to go to, too. They can go to the Tourism Commission and say, we think it's kind of dumb to have this event because maybe it's not bringing in money, or maybe it's not
Commission meetings
actually
are open to
helping.
the public when we have them.
But if we're hosting events like Seafood Festival and it's not making money for itself, which it should be, then what's the point of actually doing an event like that if it's not actually helping the businesses in town? So-
Well, that's why we moved it to Main Street, to help the
Right.
businesses.
Mhm. Yeah, absolutely.
But if we have to raise money from a tourism fee to support an event like Seafood Festival, that seems kind of counterintuitive.
Well, the way we're doing it right now is more transparent than ever, because it has to be a line item in our budget. I mean, when we used to give the chunk of money over to the BBP, they controlled it, and there was no control.
Well, they still have to get their budget approved by you every year.
They do, but we never
Yeah.
controlled spending. So that they would come in and do the budget, but there was no way that we could ever control what they were spending on. And there was a lot of overlapping spending
Right.
So this way, every dollar that's spent will be a line item budget. There's no ifs, ands, or buts, that every dollar that comes in is gonna be spent on tourism. I mean, we're not going out there and saying, listen, we're gonna increase tourism because we just want to increase it.
Oh, no, I don't think that's what
Whatever
you're
dollars
involved.
are coming in is going to fund tourism. And it's like everything that the municipality does every year. If we took in too much money, we lower it for the following year. But we budgeted for exactly what we use, and it should balance out.
Good, thank you.
Anyone else?
Hi, Maria Rondinaro, 1246 Pine Tree Way. I just wanted to first thank the Belmar Police Department, the Fire Department, EMS, for their help today at Belmar Elementary School. There was an evacuation, and the response was immediate and helpful and calming, and so I thank you very, very much. There's nothing worse than thinking your kid might be in trouble. What I wanted to talk about today was, the headline for Manasquan is Show Us Your Hearts, tourism programs where people can go in and they encourage shopping, and the kids are chalking the sidewalks, and ours is tourism fees over 1,000%. And it's embarrassing. It's embarrassing. And I don't understand, why wasn't there a conversation beforehand to these businesses? I spoke to 8 of them. None of them knew.
Well, they will now, because we're sending a letter out, and we're gonna have a meeting with them.
But I mean, you're the mayor, right? I mean, we've got people you're the leaders of our town, and our businesses didn't know that they were going to have an increase up to, from $100 to $1,000? I mean, why does a floral shop in town pay $500?
It's easy for a business to call all the media and come up with that misinformation instead of calling us, because actually, it's not an increase for them. We've explained to them that it's just about even. I think there's a $40 difference of what he was paying into the BBP and in the tourism. So if he would have called us instead of calling all the media, we would have explained in great detail to him, but we're going to do that.
No, you say if he would have called us, it's your job to call them. It's your job to let them know.
Okay.
I'm just, it doesn't make us look business friendly at all. And I know you're going to work to do better. The rates are certainly better than the first ones. But it still doesn't make sense to me why a rental property that didn't get charged before or got charged $100 is now $250. It doesn't make sense to me why a floral shop that's just getting by after COVID is being charged $250. That's still too much. And even our boats
Did
are
they
charter
explain to you
boats.
that they don't have to pay into the BBP anymore during the tax assessment?
What did they get from the BBP?
I know
What did they actually get from that? A lot of them didn't get much, and that's because a lot of them didn't pay into it, right? So it should be something. We need a chamber of commerce. We need something where people need to, contribute when they can, but not take everyone as, oh, okay, now you're all paying this, whether you're floundering or not. It's just not fair. It looks bad. Thanks.
Anyone else? All right, April?
We have a motion to close the public session and adjourn the meeting.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.